Alright. There we are. We should be live. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I'm gonna quickly share the stream in the Discord. Live streams. There we go. Okay. Let's see if some early birds are gonna step in, and then I'm gonna talk about the Nasdaq in a bit. I didn't upload the video, so I wanted to talk about it here because it is pretty obvious that it is up until proven otherwise, and that's also why I didn't make a video, because then it would have just been a video of 2 minutes. It's not really a lot to talk about. The only thing that I would have pointed out were some PD arrays, and that's pretty much it. I just missed this short. Gonna explain it in a couple of minutes here. Let's look at McDonald's because so bearish. Get rid of these arrows. Okay. Gonna check one more thing, and then I'm gonna look at Nasdaq. Oops. Oh my. Okay, let's get into the Nasdaq, because what was happening this morning? I don't even have to go on a 50-minute, I guess. It was just pumping up since yesterday. New York pushed us towards big all-time highs. We are far above it right now. Put in a nice low over here, and from there we just started ripping up. We never really stopped ripping up until now. If you are in a new contract, we stopped at around the 650 level. Pretty psychological level to stop at. And if you are still trading the old contract, which I don't recommend, but if you are, it stopped at around the 400 level. So both the charts stopped at the psychological level. That's just how this market works. If we have no clear liquidity targets to the left, like you had, like you had at this low, of course, this is going to be your first target. You're going to look at psychological levels. So we rejected from a pretty important psychological level, and from there we have been trading down. I was looking for shorts, but I never got in one. I maybe missed one. Bit bit tricky one, but I'm gonna get into it in a moment. This morning you could have taken a long. If you look at this, we made equals with a low. With the session low, we also made an SMT with this sub lows over here, and from there We inverse this for value gap that should have brought you towards new lows if you wanted to continue this trend. We didn't. We inverse this for value gap. We also gained this internal high, indicating we could get a rotation towards at least this high. And of course, overall, you're still bullish, so you are expecting higher highs and higher lows. Of course, it was nice if you took out that liquidity point, but it doesn't have to. Equals can also be another signal that you need more liquidity from the opposite side. So you could have taken a long there. I wasn't behind the charts in that moment, so I didn't take it. And from there, we made a nice pullback, leaving behind some demand, and just started coming up again. And here is where I'm getting more short bias than bullish. Of course, lower time frame and locally speaking, because if you zoom out, these equal lows is also, if you look at your structure, if you don't count that, it's I would say this is the better structure. This is your structure low to hold. So of course, until we're gonna break below here, it is up until proven otherwise. But locally, if you get some indications and short triggers, of course you're gonna look for shorts. What were those triggers for me? This is your 3-minute higher low that brought you towards a new high. So in between this low and this high, you can expect a higher low and a new higher high. But what happened? We swept this, and when we tried to make a new high, this is of course a level that can bring you towards new highs. If you look over here, a nice resistance level that could bring you towards new lows. You flip it, you use it as support here. So you can use this support once again. You tried, whoops, you tried, but you couldn't. Rejected from the high. This is your first bearish signal that the market isn't ready to make new highs and needs more liquidity from the lows. Well, where is that liquidity? At this low. So you could take out this low and come back up again, because remember, this is your 3-minute low to hold to bring you towards new highs. We try, we come below this low, try to come up, but we can't. What do we reject from? Your old low. This is just your breaker block. You can draw it in a couple of ways, but I would draw it in like this. In this scenario, this is your breaker block. And what happens from here is what got me the most bearish of all. We rejected the breaker block, made a new low, made a lower high, and a new lower low. Really aggressive way to trade down, most aggressive way to trade down, and then you broke 3-minute structured bearish as well. So what do you expect right now? Of course, still locally speaking, lower highs and lower lows. But I wasn't gonna look for shorts right here, because what could we still do? We could still just take out this liquidity that we had over here. You can also see there's a higher time frame bullish for value gap. Whoops. Bullish for value gap that we still hadn't test back. So we could do that. And we also had this untested breaker block from the left. So there was a lot of support here, and pretty much the short was gone. The only short that you could have taken was here, but there was no really a entry there, so not really a short to take. What do I expect from here? You took out liquidity, you are in a support zone and a nice step into this old high that you can test back if you are aggressive and want to trade towards new highs. This is your most aggressive way to do it. But what do we see? Slow grinds up, trying to make new highs. and trade towards liquidity again. But every time we try to make a new high, it is in a really slow and not really strong way, because if you look at this, you make a high, make a higher low, you come up, take out the high, a bit of struggle, and just after you take out the high, immediately come down again. Come up, take out the high, come down again. Which can be fine. But if we're gonna do this, right here, come down, make equals, try to come up, you fail to come up, close below the internal low that brought you towards a new high, indicating in this local structure trend we have right now, we also switch bearish in combination with the bearish structure you broke to the left already. You have to be really sharp on shorts. Why? Because apparently this support zone in combination with this liquidity and the tap on this old high wasn't enough to bring you towards new highs and take out liquidity again. So what does that mean? You have to take out more liquidity from the lows, all this imbalance right here, and of course this low right here, to then continue your up move. So after you got this, equals, try to come up, you can't, close below here, also close below your higher low, making it a bearish change of character, make a bullish gap, try to trade up from that bullish gap, fail, inverse it, then this is your trigger for a short. Your first target in this move would be the top of this demand, because from here you can reverse. If this imbalance was enough to fill up new orders, you can reverse from here. Your second target will be this low. So this short was a combination of understanding what a market normally gives as a reaction from a PY zone like this, and understanding what locally is happening and how we are trading up, because this isn't strength. We are taking out our internal liquidity the whole time to continue our up move, and when we take out a high, immediately we come back down, indicating we still have not enough liquidity to trade up. Or where are you gonna look for liquidity? At the lows, of course. Right now it looks like we want to trade towards this low, and maybe from there we can trade back up again. See if there are some imbalances there we can use. No, not really. This is just a strong demand. If you look to the left, pretty much the same as what we had here. A old high. This old high already was used, and in this old high we made a demand zone. So maybe from here, after this liquidity sweep, we can trade back up again. But we'll have to wait. And let's quickly go over some stocks as well, because it has been a while I have looked at them. I think last week Friday was the last time I looked at some stocks. Well, MicroStrategies didn't really change anything on this chart. Yeah, MicroStrategies is just ranging. Not really any indications we are filling up orders on the low yet. to trade back up again because MicroStrategy is still just down until proven otherwise. And we expect new lows and lower highs. PY zones still keep the same. Of course, this is our first point, but we don't have local confirmations yet. McDonald's I looked at in the beginning. Microsoft called this bottom really nicely, also called the entry right here. If you don't understand why these arrows are here and why I would have entered on Microsoft at that place, you have to watch back the old streams. But this is a really clean setup on Microsoft. Did Nvidia? Nvidia had pretty much the same bottom. Yeah. Taking out extreme liquidity, in an important demand zone, an important demand zone, and a nice market maker bottom right here. The entry on Nvidia was a bit more difficult. I don't think I went into that. Would I have entered right here on this block? Probably not. And why? Because your high to gain was still over here. This was what you wanted to gain to confirm you can look for more upside. Because this was the last price action that brought you towards a new low. That's also why this arrow is here. So right here, of course, if you have enough trust in this bottom in combination with what you did here, you can scale in a bit here and scale in more on confirmations with a test back on a level like this. Absolutely. So your average entry would be around here. Fine. But otherwise, what can the market do? Do this, and just make a new lower low. So I wouldn't fill up 100% of my position here. Of course, you can enter something because this is your first place to hold if you have enough trust in this bottom. Well, you can see we tapped into there and from there just started making new highs. Yeah, it was also your place to hold on Nvidia, so that would make this entry more interesting than I thought it was. I forgot this was your daily low to hold. You swept it, so that is pretty clean on Nvidia. Yeah, then that would have been a fine entry because if it isn't gonna hold here, you are gonna get new lows. Then this would have just been your invalidation point. Because if you're gonna get candle closes below here, of course your daily trend has switched from bullish to bearish and you expect lower highs for lower lows. Yeah, that makes a big difference on Nvidia. Let me get rid of this. AMD, pretty much still the same. Took out almost everything of this trend liquidity we have been building up. We made equals on these highs, indicating we need more liquidity from the lows. Same as on Nvidia, this is your daily low to hold. We swept our daily low. It's a minor sweep, but apparently it is enough for the market. There's also, yeah, it is higher volume than normal, so you can say it's a good sweep. And from there we started trading up as well. This is still your mid time frame high to gain. When we gain this, we can expect a rotation towards this high. But we already got our first confirmations on AMD right here when we broke this structure that brought you towards that liquidity hunt. You could have scaled into your position a bit here. Also a nice point. If you didn't just bought something right here in this move, you could have put some limit orders here to trade up. Even though you don't have your mid-time frame gain, same as on Nvidia, your higher time frame is still up. So even though locally you're down, we still expect a higher low for a new higher high. So you can trade with that knowledge in the back of your head. And Q is creeping towards this liquidity low. We also have red folder news, 3:30. Let's quickly check what it is. Whoops, wrong tab. Oh yeah, we have core retail sales and retail sales. Just monthly, but still red folder can have impact. Maybe with that move we're gonna take out this low or just before the data candle and then continue our up move. We'll have to see. Right now it just looks like we're gonna need this candle. And from there we can maybe put in a nice low on the 1 hour. A nice swing low like we put in, let me get the example. Where was that really nice swing low I talked about? It wasn't this one. Which one was it? Okay. Interesting. I can't find the price action I'm trying to look for. But I can just explain it like this. This is a bad example, but it is an example. If we're gonna get this swing low right here, maybe even take out that liquidity point, I want to see the second candle take out this low, creating a good swing low, and from there trade back towards these highs again. So let's see if we're gonna get that on the Nasdaq to continue trading up. Let's quickly look at Apple. Yeah, what was the story on Apple? Oh yeah, we had this pullback here that brought you towards a new high. It's on the 3-day even, a really higher time frame pullback. This is your low to hold. We made equals, so what would be a logical liquidity point to take out to continue the up move? This was the first move. Of course, you can just sweep this low, but you don't want to see candle closes below it. A sweep and a pump up. Because we made equals, equals indicates most of the times we need more liquidity from the opposite side, or we got some liquidity from the opposite side here, and it looks like we can continue our up move again. Yeah, locally that would have been your entry if you if you're confident that Apple would have gone up from here. This would have been your entry on the lower time frame. Tesla's crazy. A lot of good news is coming out on Tesla the last 2 days, and it's just pumping up. I talked about Tesla in a live stream a while back. Then it was in this supply zone right here. It took out this high. It didn't pump up yet. It just took out this high. I said, okay, all these sweeps right here in the building up liquidity at the bottom. If we can't manage to break above this high, we can trade towards these lows. That was my plan on Tesla, because I don't think we are gonna leave this behind. Of course, we can still take it out in a later moment, but right now we are just ripping towards all-time highs. So for me, it was reject this high, trade towards the trend liquidity, gain this high, make at least trade towards this liquidity point. So let's see what's gonna happen on Tesla, if it's gonna rip through and maybe even make all-time highs. Was there still a nice demand to tap into on Tesla? Yeah, this was a pretty nice level below your trend liquidity to bounce from. Right now we took out first bit of liquidity because we already took this liquidity point. So the next liquidity point for this move was this high. We just took it out. So maybe the market has to fuel up a bit and continue to move from there. Papa also just was ripping. Continuation zones are in the chart. Here and here. Right now this is your low to hold. Yeah. Crazy. Great potential on Baba. So really looking closely right here to fill up some orders. Of course you can fill up something here, and if it fills right here you can fill up there. You have a pretty clear invalidation point, so really nice to trade here on Baba. Okay, I have a range on my Coinbase chart. Coinbase on support of all these old highs, and at this low right here. It would be cleaner for Coinbase to come back towards this at least, but let's zoom in on what is happening right here. Are these all-time highs? Yeah, definitely. Let me check something. Okay. Okay. This could be an indication that market makers are selling their orders on Coinbase, but we have to see. Not really any confirmations yet. Your low to hold is all the way over here, so we can still look for support in here and continue trading up. Because for me, this is just a pretty weird place to hold support. Of course, it can be a really aggressive way to hold support, old highs. But this is just a bit cleaner. A clear demand zone, your last structure pool, where the bears tried to take over, but no, the bulls got the upper hand and push price up. So this is a really good zone to look for support on Coinbase. Right now we could be accumulating to take out this range high. And from there we can maybe trade towards that demand zone. But if this piece of price action in these old highs is enough to look for support on Coinbase, of course, high time frame was still up until proven otherwise, so we can trade up from here. Locally, we are also trading up. So this is just, yeah, more bullish than bearish right now. Would I enter a trade here? No, not really. Yeah, I would personally wait on this this zone on Coinbase and then look for a local confirmation to continue trading up. Oh, whoa, Google still ripping. I think we're gonna get a Microsoft move as well. Eventually it has to stop. Microsoft stopped at a nice psychological level of 550. Let's see if Google is close to one. Well, it is right now at 250. Of course, a great psychological level. So maybe Google wants to come back down here. And otherwise we're looking at the 300 level, but that is so far away. But you never know. We can predict, we can just react. Right now it's just ripping. So if you are positioned in Google, GG. You had a really nice confirmation right here locally. Where you could have scaled in right here. You can see the demand zone. This was your first confirmation. And this was your really high time frame confirmation you could look up. But if you scaled in from here, a nice 70% move. Ah, there's the low on NQ. Let's see what happens from here, if this is gonna be enough. Let me get rid of this. We filled, so Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. What are you doing? At a small lower time frame distribution here, technical target has been hit and from there we are coming up. Let's see if we have some demand somewhere to still tap into. This looks like a really interesting box right here. It is a bit large, but just because we have this zone right here, if you look to the left as well, a lot of lows collected right here, and a lot of highs collected right here. So that is a really interesting zone to look at. So if of this local distribution we had towards this liquidity, if this isn't enough to continue the move, I will be looking at these old highs right here because there isn't really clean demand. If you wanted to draw this in as a demand, of course you have demand, but I just would draw it in like this, support and support zone. I would look for local confirmations right here because I pointed this out a couple of times already. We are in a big bullish PO3 with your range phase right here, your manipulation, and right now we are in our expansion. So because of this, we are expecting more bullish price action than bearish, even though we broke below this low, of course. So let's see if we can continue this local up move and the higher time frame bullish PO3 from this zone. That would be my POI on Bitcoin right now. Yeah, we had a nice accumulation at the bottom here on Ethereum. Really nice support zone. A lot of old highs collected right there. And as you can see right now, after we took out this liquidity, let me get rid of this just before our all-time highs. Because what liquidity is next? Your all-time highs. So we have to fuel up. We took out some local liquidity right here. Um, yeah. You could also draw this in if you don't want to draw it in with a wick. You can do it like this. In combination with these old highs. This is a place to look for local accumulations. Some nice highs collected right here. So let's see if we can get a local accumulation schematic right here. Now there is no confirmed range or anything I will be looking at. So patience is key on Ethereum. Ah! Cage! I was just about to end the stream. Ugh. It has been a dead stream. I thought I have two shirts pumping right now. Maybe some people are gonna join in, but it is the most dead stream I've had in since the beginning of starting with streaming. Maybe I'm shadow banned because I'm giving away too much value in these streams, videos, and shorts. But Cage, if you have one more chart request, put it in the chat, and otherwise I'm just gonna join the call with you, and then this will be it. I'm just gonna do an analysis private for you. Okay, chart in 1 minute. Sounds challenging. Micro strategies locally. That means something is happening. Otherwise, we are not getting that call. I just quickly looked at micro strategies, the higher time frame again. I said it was ranging. Okay. Most of the times when you draw your range from bottom to top, you are expecting longs. But right now, a micro strategy is combined with the high time frame. It's not really what we are looking at. And we deviated the high instead of deviating the low. We front ran some local extreme supply though. What am I missing? I feel like I'm missing something, but would have to grind up, making it interesting to take a short here. But oh, okay, not just this local part, I would say. Oh wait, let me get rid of this. Because if we are gonna draw something in, it would be this range. Well, this speaks for itself, right? High time frame, interesting zone. Local range. Extreme liquidity right here. Not really a demand. It's either taking out your extreme liquidity and get into a Model 2 right here towards this liquidity, or take our range low once more for a Model 1. That I didn't see this. Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Cage, for pointing this out. I think this is what you were aiming at, or not, brother? Brother man. Yes, sir. Yeah. I already thought I was missing something because, yeah, this is not really interesting, but yeah. Zoom out and find out. Yeah. Alright, then this will be enough. Quick little sneak peek on Nasdaq. Ha, nice liquidity target in a bit. Calling you at 5. Yeah, I'm gonna end the stream here. So if nobody else in this stream right now has a chart request, I'm gonna end this stream. Then I'm gonna head to the gym, talk with Mr. Cage for a bit, and I will see you guys all tomorrow again in a video or a live stream. Depends. Depends on it. But either way, you can expect something. Alright, see you later. Ciao, ciao.